Hey, thanks so much for finding the video. Do us a favor. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. And be sure to leave your comment. We love to interact. Enjoy the video. Of course, on Sunday, the Saints will head to Denver and take on the Broncos. It's almost obligatory. And when we talked about the Saints-Broncos earlier this week, my point was about the weather and the challenges of playing in the cold weather. And Sean Payton was asked about this today. Now, at last check, there was not snow in the forecast for Denver. So this would be sunny, high of 45, low of 27. But what if there is that inclement weather? Here was Sean Payton talking about the possibility of playing in the snow this weekend.
You know, for years you try to figure out when you travel to altitude, and I think all the research and science suggests you go not as late as possible. If you're going to go early to get acclimated, you need to go 10 days prior. Obviously, that's not happening. So I think that there's a big focus on hydration during the week and then traveling in on Saturday rather than Friday.
So the Saints will travel Saturday to Denver for the game on Sunday. But again, the weather should be nice Sunday for the Saints and the Broncos. There is a challenge, of course, with this Denver offense in trying to stop it. Drew Lock, they seem to have found a little bit of a rhythm this past weekend against Miami. Here was Sean Payton with the challenges of this Denver offense.
I think the very first one is a very good running game. And when they're able to get that going, and they did last week, then that quarterback becomes dangerous relative to the play action, the balance. And so I think it starts with their running game, and they've got two really good backs in Lindsey and Gordon.
Lindsey, of course, missed part of this season. The Broncos averaging just 20 points a game. And this last weekend, they beat Miami 20-13. But at times when they've gotten that offense going, like earlier this year against the Chargers, when they won that game 31-30, it has been impressive at times, but they have come up short in times against some of the better teams on their schedule. They played the Chiefs and lost 43-16. A couple of weeks ago in Las Vegas, put up just 12 points on the board in a 37-12 loss to the Raiders. What about that Denver defense? And this, for me, actually is the bigger story. I think the Saints defense is going to travel. We talked about it earlier. As much as we talked about Taysom Hill this past weekend, and justifiably, the Saints defense really was the story, because if the Saints are going to win a Super Bowl this year, they're going to need Drew Brees to come back and at some level be his efficient self to be able to lead this team to a Super Bowl. The defense, though, playing at this level consistently for the remainder of the year firmly puts them in the driver's seat in the NFC if they can maintain this level. So I think the Saints defense will travel. My big question this week is that Denver defense. This is for, Brain. It's Taysom Hill going against a defense that now has seen him on film play quarterback, seen how Sean Payton envisions using Taysom Hill as a quarterback, and this is a physical Denver defense. So what about that Denver defense this week against the Saints?
Well, two things. They've known Vic a long time. He's going to play out of a base 34 front, and he's also going to play out of a nickel package and some dime on third downs. It's the challenges are, sometimes you'll see his nickel to your base, and sometimes you'll see his 34 to your nickel. And so he's an outstanding defensive coach. He's got a great staff, a veteran staff there, and they played good defense this season. So I think the identification as to front and coverage when they're in their base package, and then understanding what they're trying to do in their sub package.
That was sort of a PhD level answer, but that for me, and you don't have to understand what he was talking about, a base nickel or 34 against your nickel and their nickel against your third. Whatever. You don't need to understand the nuance of what Sean Payton was saying there. The point is, that, for me, is the challenge. That is the game within the game that's going to start to transpire for as long as Taysom Hill is the quarterback. Because it's just like, if you want an analogy from another sport, it's just like in baseball. Whenever hitters start to have film of a pitcher and your tendencies and how you pitch in certain scenarios, in certain pitch counts, like that's when a hitter starts to strategize a game plan against you. And when they've seen you, it's why when you've seen a pitcher 2 and 3 times through the lineup, it's more likely you're going to hit him later in the game because you've seen him. You know to expect more. Same here for every defense that's going to face this Saints offense with Taysom Hill. Once they've seen what Taysom Hill looks like, once they've seen what his tendencies are, how Sean Payton calls a game for Taysom Hill, that's whenever you're going to start to see those defenses adjust. And then in turn, what do the Saints do? What are their in-game adjustments to whatever Denver is doing defensively? You heard Peyton talk there about Vic Fangio. They've known him a long time. Vic Fangio is a very physically defensive-minded football coach. I think the Saints are going to win this game. I'll spoil my pick for Friday. Saints are going to win this game because the Saints defense is going to travel, and I don't think Denver is going to be able to put up enough points on the Saints defense to be able to outscore New Orleans. And I think the Saints have enough weapons to where even if they go rudimentary with the offense, zone reads with Taysom Hill, single wing with Taysom and Kamara and Latavius Murray, I think the Saints are going to have enough offense to win the game. So I'm spoiling my pick. Saints are better. I think they're going to win. I'm curious to see how Taysom Hill performs throwing the football against a defense that will have seen him on film now and how the Saints then in turn adjust. That, for me, is the really big storyline because, I'll tell you what, the disadvantage for New Orleans is having to play Atlanta twice in 3 weeks. Having to play Atlanta again after having just played them and now letting that team that just saw you game plan against you. So what do the Saints put on film different this week? I think it's going to be a massively interesting storyline as the Saints go to Denver on Sunday as 6-point favorites. And as Sean Payton said there, Saints will travel on Saturday instead of on Sunday this week.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.